listen carefully. Chinese are ruling the Chinese land. Japan is ruled by Japanese.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your anchor man, your one and only anchor man, Chris Anu, joining you as usual from the great state of Texas, precisely Houston, Texas. Like to say good evening to all of you tuning in from Ground Zero, where we call the Federal Republic of Amazonia. And for those of you tuning in from the diaspora, thank you for tuning in to be part of the broadcast today. It's been a while since I launched the campaign for president, ladies and gentlemen. I have not been able to come to you coupled with other things going on around here, but I am quite excited coming to you tonight. Unfortunately, I cannot bring you much tonight. This will just take about an hour for me to be here and retrieve. But I'd like to remind you, the Restoration Council will be coming up right after me with a special announcement. The Restoration Council will be coming up right after me with a special announcement. So make sure you go nowhere. They will be coming up right after me. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I am waiting for at least 700 people. 700 to come to you with my monologue, which I believe is very educative, inspirational, and of course informative. And I would like to bring that why the population is the platform talking about social media is not populated yet. So please, I crave your indulgence to go about, hit your share button, let them know the anchor man is right around after a while. Hit your share button, ladies and gentlemen. I am very excited about what I bring to you today. I can see that the numbers are actually jumping. Do that. Again, the moment I see 700, I will start bringing you that monologue. That is the only thing that I bring to you today. In the meantime, I like to appreciate what is going out there in Iyumojok in particular. Iyumojok, precisely where I learned the Manfe Warriors. Manfe or Manu, is it Manu Unity Warriors, launch a fierce attack on colonial forces in the Iyumojok and left many French Cameroon soldiers dead. We also learn of attacks by the restoration forces in Bafut and where again other parts of Bamenda. We want to thank you for that wonderful job. Better days are ahead. Again, better days are ahead, ladies and gentlemen. I saw some pictures coming from Mbengwe where people's shops were being sealed up. Ladies and gentlemen, La République du Cameroon administrators are developing some feats on the ground. They never did this before. But now they are going around on Monday ghost towns and they're putting padlocks on people's shops and locking them now down. And the message they leave there is for locking up on Monday ghost town days. Well, I can assure the people of Mbengwe that we will stand by you. We will stand by you. From September 7, when by the grace of God I take over, it will not be the same. It will never be the same. It will never be the same because I am very bitter right now with what I see going on ground zero, with a lot of people to Cameroon having the courage to move everywhere and shutting down people's shops on Mondays. Ladies and gentlemen, think about that. They couldn't dare that a few months ago, but now they have the impetus to go around shut down people's shops because they shut down on Ghost Town Mondays. Well, that will not continue for long. We stand with the people, the traders in Mbengui, and I'd like you to know that hope is not lost at all. Hope isn't lost at all. Hope isn't lost at all. We are going to revive. Revive these struggle and firepower in particular in every nook and cranny of Amazonia. Give us 1 week and let this election thing be over. I am very sure I will win, ladies and gentlemen. I don't take fight that I won't win. You guys know that, right? So I am very sure. It's not because I am privy to some information. It is because every fight I take, I make sure I win. I will win this one, and it will never, ever be the same on ground zero. All right. So Mbengui people will feel your pain, but hang in there. We will be with you. I promise you that. They will not come around and lock your shops on Monday and walk home freely anymore after that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I see the numbers are jumping. Please, if you have just joined, I am looking for the number 700 to come to you with this special presentation I bring to you. It's going to be a monologue. I will not take phone calls because of time. I will not take phone calls, but I promise you, I will be coming back. If it is not Wednesday, maybe Thursday or Friday, open the phone lines to take your questions alongside the Honorable Reverend Ingenie, my running mate. We like to take questions from you in the public. So if you have any concerns, about my running for president of Amazonia, we may answer them. Please go ahead and hit your share button. Let me see what is in your mind. Those of you who have joined, please hit your share button. I am waiting for that number. I am waiting for that number to join. Please, I am waiting for that number to join. Let me see what's going on here. All right, Dr. Epa, contact Mike Fusi, please, and get the codes. Contact Mike Fusi and get the codes. I cannot answer. Please contact Mike Fusi and get the codes. I am live. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, good. 400 still to go. 400 still to go. Hit your share button. In the meantime, let me see what is in your mind and where you are reaching me from. And ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that ABS is 24/7 on Roku. 24/7 on Roku. If you live anywhere in Europe, in the USA, in South America, in Canada, or in the Middle East where there is regular internet, most television sets nowadays come with Roku pre-installed in them. If you can watch YouTube on your television set with your Wi-Fi, I want you to know you can definitely watch ABS 24/7 on your television set if you are anywhere in the diaspora. For you in Africa, you don't have to worry. The satellite is the way to go. But in the diaspora, you can download ABS into your Roku app and you have it with you 24/7, even after live shows like this one. So that is very important. Or you don't have to pay anything to have ABS at home on Roku. You don't pay anything. All you need to do is download ABS, go to Roku app on your television set, search with the term Africa Broadcasting Service. Africa Broadcasting Service, and the ABS will show up, and you download it and you can watch us live anytime. Ladies and gentlemen, I see like the numbers are instead dropping. It's like the numbers are instant dropping. Get those numbers up if you want me to come to you with this special monologue. Get those numbers up. If you are just joining, ladies and gentlemen, get the numbers up. Let me see you, those of you who are joining here. Tita Inosa, watching, he says, live from Bamenda. Mike Nas, Amber must be free. Will you, George Mbulav? You people trust the anchor man. I hope that's what he's trying to say. Gina Fungo, I see you, ma'am. Stella Anita, I see you. Nicholas Elia, Secretary Chris, don't be shaken by those who want hang on power. All right, I get, you know that nothing shakens me, right? If always, come on, you guys, you know, nothing shakens me here. They have shaken and shaken and shaken and shaken for 6 years. 6 years. I am still seated here and still doing what I know how to do best. So you guys never be worried. Never be worried. I don't know why people keep doing one thing over and over and over and over, and I'm still here and they're expecting different results. You hit me, you hit against a rock. All right? So they better go look for somebody to hit, right? Okay. Princess Pamela for me, I see you, ma'am. I see Ad Gafu, he's always here. So the female general has been proven and confirmed to be the only activist in Amazonia. The rest are gossipers and chop brook pot. All right, sir. Wonderful. Who else is here? I see Jessica Akwo, female general and senior activist. Wonderful. All right, I'm hearing that from you guys out there. Christian Amungwa, I see you, sir. Lucky son, World Hope. So without a country, you have been rejected 4 times. Without a country, I guess this guy is on the wrong platform anyways. All right. Malam Musa, I see you, sir. Alaji Musa from Angola, you are welcome. The only lion man, eye by eye and truth by truth. That's what will happen if you can get on par where. I don't know what you mean there. All right. I see Ewane Debade. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not liking the numbers. They are dropping, they are not increasing. Where they just jumped now. All right, please, again, I am waiting for you to hit those share numbers before I bring you this monologue here. All right, I see also wisdom fade. Something is wrong with your life. You are echoing. Oh, for real? Let me know, please. If I am echoing, let somebody confirm that so the technicians can look it, they can check for that. Ping An, you hit Secretary Chris, you hit the rock. That is correct. That is correct. Else I would have been out of here a long time ago. All right. And the people who keep on grumbling that Secretary Chris is this bully around there. Are you guys not surprised? They keep on keeping me here for the past 6 years, and they are not firing the bully. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Leaders take responsibility. Leaders should never grumble because the boss ends on their tables, isn't it? All right. I see also Stella Anita. Even catapult can't remove you there. No shaking. Thank you. Gabi Leko, I see you, sir. Avo Million. Yes, she is. I don't know who you're referring to. Grace Johnny, I see you, ma'am. Sarah White, yes, I see you. Abraham Ivo, ha ha ha, he says yes. Ni Sama, is it the Honorable Sama? I don't know. Courage, Mr. Chris, thank you, sir. All right, Ams Zonia, female general, please advise the baby activists. That's interesting. All right, Ismaya Isangu, the volume is good, no echoing. Thank you for confirming that. All right, Award Billy Blank, female general, I respect her. She get sense like King Solomon. Wonderful. I need to talk to that female general. Ambititus Mbuta. He says, no, 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 no. That means the sound is good. Thank you. Abdul Maikano, waiting for the monologue. It is coming, and you will love it. Hit your share button. The numbers are not climbing to my liking, ladies and gentlemen. Hit your share button if you have just joined before I bring you the monologue. That is the only thing I'm bringing to you today. There will be no phone calls. That's the only thing. So it will not be a long broadcast, probably about 40 minutes once I start the monologue. Joseph Modica, the anchor man, you are a game changer. All right. Hello, shows. Bijouan them. This is a Libya name. Bobga, Esther, your sound is okay. Thank you, ma'am. Butabu, Kwifo, Comrade Chris, Sako in Marianta has no right to sack you because they never appointed you, sir. All right, those are jokers out there, right? All right, please hit your share button. Prince Sule, the voice is okay. Say thank you. Buffalo Hunter, the man that speaks La Republic Scramble, the thunder light of Amazonia. Okay, Eric Wan said the sound is good. Thank you. Who else is here? Bole Toleti. Always. I don't know whether it's a he or a she, but it says, I am with you, my Chris Anu. All right. Paul McPercy. Chris Anu is a great patriot, if not the greatest Amazonia patriot. He serves Sisiku and Sako and Marianta. Let me see what it continues here. And he serves Sisiku and Sako and Marianta well. Now that it's his time to take the mantle and be the one to finally take us to Boya, hypocrites and traitors are mad. Mad because they hate Chris and are jealous of him being the chosen one. This is Chris time. Okay. Chris for president. Thank you, sir. Good advocate out there. Mike, nice I see you. I see also Ismaya and Sangu. In the future, no transitional leader should be allowed to stand for elections. You are correct, and that is one thing the Restoration Council got wrong. I will say it, and I will say it again. Transition should be a transition. It means temporal. It means in a short while. All right. I see also Gina Fungo, hi, Sector Chris. The Zoom link is still on. That's why the numbers are not climbing. Okay, there's a Zoom meeting going on. All right, I get you. Thank you for that information. Also, Alex Asa is watching. Chiba Ken Chiba. Friend Jeka is confused. Yes, he is confused. You are right. Mumbai Darga. Secretary Chris, stay strong unto Boya. All right, ladies and gentlemen, because a Zoom meeting is actually going on, I didn't realize that. I will come to you with this presentation. I will come to you with this presentation and hope that any person else joins it as soon as they can. As soon as they can. I will bring you the presentation. Others can join, but please, in the meantime, just continue. Keep on hitting your share button, please. Keep on hitting your share button, and as you do, that is the subject of the message that I bring to you today. That is the subject of the message I bring to you today. What to do when leaders fail. What to do when leaders fail. I hope that this be some teaching moment and some educative moment for all of you tuning in from across the globe. All right. So please hit your share button. And fellow Amazonians, you all recall that only 6 months ago, we were stuck in the political crisis. within this interim government, trying to get rid of an incompetent, corruption-infested leadership, assuming the characteristic head of state syndrome. The full weight of the interim government, talking about the Restoration Council, including that of the people's power, was brought to bear upon the agitative, corrupt regime that would not want its assumed popularity and touted successes tested by way of elections, especially when his mantle was long expired. After we were done steering through that process, a new leadership under Iya Marianta in Jomia emerged. It was called a transitional government. She was, as the name implies, to lead a temporary government specified to last for 6 months. After that, there will be an election in which she will yet qualify or have the right to still run for office. The Restoration Council was charged with drawing the rules or modalities that should guide the conduct of the election exercise. In view of this, the Restoration Council constituted a committee made up of randomly selected members of cabinet, including the Judicial Council, counties, countries, and regions, plus some members of the Restoration Council itself, and charged the committee with drawing the election modalities. The committee deliberated for close to 2 months, and once its job was over, submitted a draft to the Restoration Council for final voting and approval. It is important to note here that at the time of drawing, voting, and approval of the modalities, there was no candidate in sight ready to stand for this election. But let me add also that if there was any candidate known at that moment, at that time, it was only the incumbent, Iya Marianta. This should squash the allegation that the modalities were drafted to favor any candidate. Of course, not at all. Marianta was the only known candidate at the time the drafters put the modalities together. And they knew it because of the fact that the Restoration Council had already told her she could stand the election after the transitional period. 2 other candidates, Gertrude Kisop and myself, didn't emerge until about a week into the deadline of registration. It is also important for full disclosure to state that I was supposed to be a member of the committee drafting the modalities, but I was never available to participate, not even once, because of other demanding constraints. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians, I make this observation not as a candidate for the presidency, but as any of you out there would. It is rather very unfortunate the kind of leaders we have produced as a people during the 6 years of this struggle. We have produced 3 leaders who have not been able to demonstrate that all they do is for the struggle. They came in like angels, but when it is time to test the quality of their patriotism, they turn into despots and throw honor, decency, and the rules to the dogs. Permit me to say regrettably that we have nothing to write home about the past three leaders, including the incumbent Marianta. It is a sad story. Some of you will say that what I'm about to say is divisive, but I just have to say it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. Sisiko was abducted, put behind bars in La République du Cameroon, and it became necessary for continuity reason to replace him, albeit with the idea of maintaining him as a symbolic face of the struggle. He didn't like the idea. He wanted to remain in charge. He wanted to lead from behind bars. Once free people objected, he created a faction. The Restoration Council responded with impeachment and removal. But little did the Restoration Council know, the requiem had only just started. Samuel Sako was elected to replace Sisiko, with his status elevated from that of interim president to full president, a status and privilege that Sisiko never enjoyed. Sako swore to a 2-year mandate re-electable, but when his second mandate was up for re-election, he turned arrogant, called the bluff of the Restoration Council and Amazonians. He told the Restoration Council that his mandate doesn't end until he has taken us to Boya. That is, even if it will take another 30 years, it will all be him. Summarily, he followed in Sisiko's footsteps and created his own faction. Once more, the Restoration Council stepped in and conducted a second impeachment. Like Sisiko, Sako was impeached and removed for refusing to follow constitutional provisions to stand re-election. Owing to the constitutional circumstances under which Sako was removed, Dr. Tita was rushed in for one day. He had picked Marianta as his vice. When he chickened out the next day, the Restoration Council stepped in and said, constitutionally, it is only natural that the vice, who was Marianta, takes over and fill the vacancy created by Tita's exit. However, instead of the 4 months transition period as was Tita's, the Restoration Council used discretion and voted that Marianta be given 6 months to lead, within which election modalities will be drafted and elections conducted at the end of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is where we are today. You may be wondering why this winding background is so necessary. It is necessary because we are about to encounter a repeat of Sisiko and Sako. Yesterday, as you all know, Lady Marianta announced in the characteristic style of the head of state syndrome that election or no election, she's not going to step down. She says she is suspending the exercise till certain conditions are fulfilled. She has said, like in the case of Sako, that she will not engage in the election exercise. And the reason is quite similar to that of Sako. She wants the election rules to be changed to reflect what she wants. She essentially wants to be both the player and the referee, it seems. But before I proceed further, ladies and gentlemen, it is important that for once, we are made to understand why these elections really matter. Fellow Amazonians, some people would want to say that the idea of a government is the fundamental problem here. I say, hey, no, it is not. Uncultured, self-centered individuals are the problem. And the only tool at our disposal for kicking them out is election, voting. You all recall my trip to Boya. The drafts and many other fundraisers that brought in so much money, but which was largely mismanaged and embezzled. When we have a culture where leaders don't know how to resign when things are going the wrong way, or when they incessantly indulge in corrupt and fraudulent felonies, how do you save the struggle from them? That's the reason why elections become very necessary. When we have a culture where surrogacy and cult-like patronage replaces service, commitment, and loyalty to the struggle, common sense entails that we occasionally or seasonally test their popularity and patriotism by demanding that they face the people in an election. We should not chastise elections, and neither should we condemn it, as some people are in the habit of wanting to do. Any leader who believes or says he or she has or is doing a good job should proudly want to face the people in an election. Only elections, ladies and gentlemen, will help us take our mediocres. Will help us take out mediocres, corrupt, fraudulent, and even compromised leaders. There is no other way around it. Fellow Amazonians, even as we fight to retain our country, we must embrace and start to practice the culture of elections if we want leaders who are efficient and who must deliver. One's leadership capability and popularity shouldn't be measured based on what surrogates and ever flippant activists say or write on the social media. When a leader says he will give 90% of what he raised to ground zero, we should judge him based on actual delivery and not on pronouncements, not on sound bites. When a leader says he or she has sent, say, 15 to 20 guns to ground zero, he should be judged by it and not by what the activists and surrogates go out there propagating. That is one thing killing this struggle. It is high time we shut down this surrogacy, patronage, and misogynistic syndrome from this campaign to win Amazonia if we deserve good and honest leaders. And let me say this to every activist and surrogate out there. I don't need your surrogacy, sirs. Never. I can do without you. Support me for the right things and for the right reasons. I won't need your praises the day I become leader of this struggle. I won't be in your meetings. What I will need is honesty and commitment to this cause where thousands have paid with their lives. We must learn to put country first before patronage. Elections breed competition, and competition breeds better leaders and more effective delivery too. Elections eject mediocre leaders. Elections bring out the best out of leaders. If we have to save this struggle and win the war, Here is where we must begin. That is, conducting elections seasonally to ensure the leader still has trust, confidence, and popular support from the people who put him there. That is what it should be. Mediocre and corrupt leadership, such as we have had in the recent past and now, is killing the struggle. Unfortunately, Marianta and VP Vice President Abongwa either are conscienceless or just want to live in denial. In denial. They just do not see elections as a scale on which a leader's popularity and delivery ability are measured. If they have to go for it, they suppose it must be on their own terms and with their own modalities, not those of the Restoration Council or those of the Election Commission. Fellow Ambazonians, I do not come to you today just as a candidate for the elections. I would like to double as a commentator, the anchor man that you all know, an analyst, and as a concerned Ambazonia, because what is going on is normal. Our leaders have failed us, and I'm sure you know that. I would say this, even if I am not a candidate. Our leaders have failed us. Each time we thought they will do the right thing. Marianta is about going the circle way again. The only good thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that not a fly will follow her, except for a handful of flippant surrogates. This idea that we are about to see a fourth IG should be thrown to the dogs. It is not going to happen, I can assure you. It will be crushed like cockroaches. She cannot even keep a cabinet, ladies and gentlemen. She doesn't even have a base. Her cabinet has left. Not even her own cabinet is with her. She has alienated almost all of them. Her chief presidential advisor, listen to it, is a campaign chairman, campaign manager for her opponent, Ma Gertrude. The rest of her advisors are in my own campaign. If she cannot get followers in her own cabinet and her own constituency, where does she get them? Her Secretary of Home Affairs only recently ejected her and her vice from the APP forum over disagreements stemming from her overreaching. Her own chief of staff cannot even wait for September 6th to call it quit. Forget about this campaign out there, ladies and gentlemen, about a fourth IG. A fourth IG coming. It is not coming. I can assure you, and I want you to take this to the bank. For a person who has no constituency in her own country, in all of Europe, and you think that she can come and break this interim government, that will not happen. I will say this today, and I'm not saying this because I'm a candidate. You know that I will say it even if I were not a cabinet. This interim government will stand and it will crush everything that rises up in the pseudo government. I can assure you that. But there are other mounting issues that I want you to take note. The Secretary of Defense has complained that her signature is being used on requisitions she hasn't been consulted for. Other procurements she's on the record as saying have been delivered to ground zero, have never been delivered. Let me take that again. Procurements that the incumbent president wants you to believe were bought and sent to ground zero, they have never arrived ground zero. They have never arrived ground zero, ladies and gentlemen. I won't name them, but let me assure you, they have never arrived ground zero because nobody has acknowledged receipt of that equipment on ground zero. And that is why I said, when people promise to deliver you 90% of what they raise for ground zero, don't judge them by that 90%. Judge whether delivery is made. It's easy for me to come and sit here and tell you I will raise every dime and send to the ground on ground zero. Doesn't matter if ground zero doesn't receive the equipment. Of course not. And if they receive the equipment, where is the firepower? Why can a lot of people to Cameroon feel so free walking the streets of ground zero in Bangui and stealing people's shops as if the revolution, the struggle is done? If there was a firepower, if there was that equipment on the ground, no, it is not. It is not. In order, okay, in elsewhere, ladies and gentlemen, receipts for purchases that the incumbent president claims to have made are nowhere to be found, to be seen, despite the fact that the Treasury has been asking for those receipts for over a month. She wants Ambazonians to know this. And I bet you know, Ambazonians must know. As of moment, there are huge sums of Ambazonian money. Now, I'd like you to listen to me carefully. As I come to you today, the incumbent president is keeping or is in the keeping of huge sums of Ambazonian money. Ladies and gentlemen, and one of her activists is also keeping a huge sum of that money. And again, they are not ready to hand that money back into the National Treasury. The incumbent Iya Marianta is stage managing this her creation so that she runs with Ambazonia's money, and nobody will come asking for it. We may never recover those funds if she walks away the way Sako did. You guys know what Sako did. But I have a very strong reason to believe that the money may have been swindled, which explains why saying that she may lose the election doesn't want to run at all, because if she loses, she must leave. But before she leaves, she will be made to return the funds. Right. If she loses, before she leaves, she will be made to hand over. Handing over means sending to the treasury whatever is in her keeping. But in her own calculation, if the funds have been swindled, the only other way to conceive it is to pretend that she is still the president. That way, she doesn't have to release the funds to anybody anytime soon. I hope you guys are getting this. Ambazonians, shine your eyes out there. People do not out of a sudden get scared of elections for nothing. There is something, not especially when they score the modalities of the elections 95% good. Election modalities, as she wants everybody to believe, isn't the problem. There is something we need to uncover behind her actions. And I believe strongly that it may have to do with money in their keeping. Money that ought to be in the National Treasury. And don't be mistaken, we're not talking about some chicken change here. We are talking about tens of thousands in pounds and euros. Tens of thousands in pounds and euros. Election modalities did not become a problem until suddenly. We are talking about same modalities that she and the vice had scored 95% during a Restoration Council meeting. But suddenly everything is so biased against her candidacy. Why only her? Why are the other candidates not complaining? Or she thinks we lack loopholes to complain about the modalities? Think about that, fellow Amazonians. We are not going to have a perfect document for any exercise. Not at all, not even when we get to Boya. But I must tell you that we have made tremendous progress in this election thing. When Sako was elected in 2018, only country and regional coordinators were selected to vote, and no one quarreled it. In this election of today, voting rights have been extended to all constituted AGHS, all constituted countries and regional coordinators, and all duly seated members of the Restoration Council. They are all considered to represent certain constituencies, which was the wisdom behind this arrangement. With this progress, who knows, maybe in the next election, maybe, just maybe, all of the diaspora may be allowed to vote. Progress is being made. Marianta, in her own selfish wisdom, says, everybody paying CID has to vote. But this is the problem in it, ladies and gentlemen. She is the only one who has records of who is paying CID and ARF. When they thought they have a chance of winning, when they thought they had a chance of winning the elections, they were all over, gathering people and even volunteering to pay the CID on their behalf, so they can go and vote, isn't it? If this isn't fraudulent and an attempt to rig the election, you tell me what it is. That's exactly the way I perceived it. The Restoration Council had its fair share of blame in the events leading up to today. This was supposed to be a transitional government, a government for the interim, so to say. But the Restoration Council messed that up by telling her she could just run again after her mandate of 6 months should be over. That was wrong. Had a transition been enforced in the strictest sense of the word, we would never be here talking about an interim president trying to interrupt the struggle with shenanigans of election modalities. That said, the Restoration Council did the best job as far as the election modalities are concerned. That they had to make changes to the modalities at the recommendation of Marianta and Dr. Abongwa, knowing that they were people with interest in the outcome of the election, I should say, was quite gracious of the Restoration Council. Under no circumstances should have been done. However, I should state that rules are rules. A player in the game cannot become the referee or request rules change in the middle of the game. It doesn't happen anywhere like that. It doesn't, never happen. As far as the conduct of the election is concerned, Marianta isn't the president. Marianta isn't the president. She is just another candidate, and so cannot be allowed to want to dictate the rules, talk less of trying to suspend the election. She didn't call for the election. She cannot suspend it, ladies and gentlemen. The Restoration Council can. However, she has the right to boycott the election. It is her choice. That she doesn't have the right to cancel, to stop or suspend it. It is the prerogative of the Restoration Council. And as we forget, there are 3 candidates in for the election. If one drops out, the exercise continues with the rest. Even if only one is left, it still cannot impede the process. Fellow Amazonians, I'm dying to get to this leadership to finally find out what is happening to these leaders. What is climbing onto their heads the moment they are sworn in? They always come across looking as gentle and as harmless as doves. But give them a few months, they turn into wolves. I promise you, look at me eyeball to eyeball, I promise you that I will end this nonsense where leaders get there and remain there. I want to fundamentally transform the way people see leadership, especially in this struggle. I want to set the pace. I want to set the example that people can lead and live when their time is up or when they lose elections. I want to set the pace. No one person should ever be allowed to again keep people's money longer than necessary away from the treasury. That should never again happen. And if I take over, I will ensure that that happens. Nobody's confidential information should ever be left in the hands of crooked and twisted individuals for leakage in the public space when they disagree with you. That should never happen again. If by the grace of God I am your leader, I will work with the Restoration Council starting September 7 to ensure that all government subscription platforms, that the CID and the AROF platforms, are managed by the National Treasury, not by unscrupulous individuals. And if Marianta will not immediately turn over the platforms to the National Treasury, we will ask that after September 7, you pay nothing. You pay nothing into those platforms, ladies and gentlemen, and we would create new platforms for those payments. And that is the message that I thought to bring to you today. Again, unfortunately, I will not be taking any phone calls today. Members of the Restoration Council supposed to be joining this broadcast. They are not here yet. I don't see them here yet. This is what I'm going to do, because I am hoping that they get connected before I leave. I will spend a few more minutes to see if they join, and I will open the phone line, take a few phone calls from you, hoping that members of the Restoration Council can come in. So I will open the phone lines so that you can make a few calls before I call it quit. I'm doing this again, waiting for members of the Restoration Council to come on. At the moment, they are not logged in. So please, the phone line is open. You go ahead and call if you can. If you have any question, any comment, you go ahead and call, please. I guess the phone line is there on your screen. If you call, make sure that your comment or question is centered around the monologue, please. So go ahead and you call. All right. Okay, again, the phone line is open. You got a line there on your screen. If there are no questions, I just call call it quit and find out what is happening with the Restoration Council members who are supposed to be on here with me. All right, it appears they are still getting ready to come on. Again, I will take your questions. Let me see who is calling here. Okay, this is Ground Zero. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening or good afternoon.
Good afternoon to me. Good evening to you, sir.
I'm calling from Ground Zero, Meme County.
Wonderful. How was Ghost Town in Meme today?
No, good.
I'm glad to hear that. What is in your mind, sir?
Yes, I thank you for what you are saying, because the Bible says when you know the truth will set you free. And I thank God for your boldness. I pray that God should continue to give you that boldness to speak the truth. So I pray that God should help you to stand, no matter what happens, to expose the wickedness of men and women in this our country. Because we want truth. Because many people always say that this is God's ordained revelation. But when they are doing things, they don't remember, they don't think about that God.
Yeah, they know how to say that, and when you give them the opportunity to serve God's ordained revelation, they mess up.
Yeah, they mess up. You don't see God in their heart. You don't see God in their action.
Right.
So I pray that God should really help you to stand strong, and I pray that God should give you that vote, so that those who are making mouth, they should see. You see, they should see, because some of them are saying that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Because I always pray that God should help you to win. And the other thing I want to say is, one time you said that your wife is not sound, but I want you to take this number. And maybe if you like, I would like to call.
Just text me. Just text me the number. Text me the number. I can't take it down now.
Okay.
And leave a message on it.
Okay. So
all right. Thank you. Let me take other calls. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
Calling from North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay. What is your contribution, sir?
Yes, I just have two things to say.
Yes, go on, sir. There's a lot of background noise with you there. If you can move away from whatever is in the background, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, I just turned it off. I got two things to say. Thank you for what you're doing. We really appreciate it. But one, you said you're trying to set the record straight. Nice. Please, I don't know, something going on with the comment section. If you can tell the moderator to stop deleting comment, if you want to set the record straight, let the moderator accept criticisms and stuff. People will always say stuff. Deleting comments and stuff like that mess up the whole thing about you saying setting the record straight.
Well, you are correct. You are correct. Unfortunately, there is no way I can moderate the comment section, being that I'm sitting in front of cameras. What I have observed, however, is that there are people, a lot of political Cameroon agents who come to the platform like this. You know, they kind of stop their right, and sometimes you mix while trying to censor them, you mix them up with good people with good intention. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay, yeah, but that's if that's the case, then I don't know if you can talk to the moderator.
Absolutely.
Or he to which one to delete, not just deleting like the least comment they delete.
Right.
We try to understand what is going on. Yes, people will come and castigate and stuff, but let's get it. You in the line, you getting the stuff straight. So let's get it all across.
All right.
People
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Okay. This is Ground Zero. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, where are you calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Ground Zero.
Which town or city?
Northern Zone.
Northern Zone, okay. What is in your mind, sir? What's your contribution?
I'm not just calling like a normal citizen. I'm a fighter on ground.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Secretaries, we like what you people are doing, but there's a problem, and we need to solve out this problem. My contribution here is that here on ground, we listen to you mostly here on ground. But the problem now at house that we are facing now, because we are seeing that there is another government to be created, so we don't know what is really going on.
Listen, you people forget about that idea of another government to be created. It is not happening. Did you listen to all of my monologue?
I didn't listen to everything because here we face problem of network.
Okay. No, if you have time, go back, listen to it. And I stated in there summarily that for somebody who doesn't even have his own cabinet or her own cabinet with her, how do you think she can go create a government? If she has all these people, popular supporters she had currently, and she cannot raise money to fund the struggle, how do you think she will raise money to fund a new government? In England, in London, where she lives, she has been taken out of every Amazonian forum. Even when she was, Southern Cameroon leadership, something in London, she was taken out of that. She has no base, no constituency there. So this idea that, somebody is forming a fourth IG, no, that is not going to happen. They just want to frighten you people so somebody can start saying, let her just stay, let her just stay, let her just stay. That is fear mongering.
Okay, Mr. Secretaries, I hear you. But what I'm trying to say is that, please, when you people are when something is happening like that, it destabilizes us here on the ground, and
Correct.
We don't like to mislead. That you people should mislead us. We want that you people should direct us how to do things so that we can believe to you.
This is what I will say to you. This is what I will say to you. All of you on Ground Zero, monitor, listen to what the Restoration Council say. The Restoration Council has its fault, but it was the best thing that happened to this interim government. Listen to what it says. Thank you for the call.
It's not everything that the Restoration Council say that we can take it, because there are things that you people can say that we ourselves.
Listen, we're not going to go into a debate, because when there is a conflict, there always has to be somebody to come into the middle and say this is the way it has to be done. And in our case, the Restoration Council is that person. It is the last place we go to. Okay? So thank you for the call. You have a great night. All right. Hello. Good
evening, Chris.
Good evening, sir. You calling from Abakwa, I guess?
Yeah, I'm calling from Abakwa, Bamenda.
All right. What is your contribution, sir?
Please let me express myself in pidgin.
That is fine.
I want to say we don't hear your monologues for this evening. Those were there for diaspora, Marianta, Sako, and the rest of them, who are praying over the people where they die for ground. They die for America. They know they see what the way they pass here. Our children, our fighters, our mothers are being killed every day. They are only there fighting for power. I want to give another single prayer to them that what would take them out of this struggle is the blood of these people who are dying on the ground. we are dying. People are killed. They are fighting for position, embezzling funds that support to come on the ground to help us, but they are embezzling them. We are giving them for the blood of these people, thousands of people who have been killed, thousands of people who have made placement, etc. Please, we are saying they with blood in our tears in our eye for what is happening on the ground. But instead of them go straight for all of us to look for what is happening on the ground, they are fighting for power, embezzling money. Thank you. Please, we are praying every day for those who are giving room to La Republic to kill us, that all of them would the blood of these people will judge them. That is our judgment, because when we hear this, what Marianta, who came off as a transitional president, is making today, crying that he want to remain another faction of government. After he promised all that, he was going to send 90% on the ground. But today he's keeping ambassador money and giving a room to La Republic to kill us and want to remain a president. That will never happen. The blood of these people who are killed here will judge them. That is my word to Marianta and Sako. Because every day Sako is making a drop. In Brongo, he has had this. We are not seeing any one of his father on the ground.
Right.
But they continue to tell us how he correct that, how this is the. Their problem is Crisano.
All right.
If
Thank
they
you.
went to and to look for power, and they don't do anything but giving us that, they would be killed. We will never die.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. You guys remain safe out there.
Yes.
All right. Okay, who is next here? This is, I guess, ground zero. Oh, that's bad connection. Let me see. Hello.
Yeah, Secretary.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Belgium. It's Eric.
Oh, Belgium. Eric. Okay. How are you, sir? Go on. What is in your mind?
Fine, sir. Yeah, I think Marianta should be very ashamed of her behavior. She's, no matter all those big grammar she used to speak, I think she is a power monger, like same like Sako, because when I see her behavior, she was there for transitional period. I don't know why she could go as far as saying that she has the right to suspend elections. Why she doesn't want to?
She doesn't have the right. She doesn't have. I guess she's really trying really hard to usurp authority, to get the Restoration Council chicken out and allow her to just continue.
It's really terrible. It's terrible what that girl is trying to do. And she is unable, because even fundraising that she was doing, I see nothing effective.
She cannot.
How can you say you will send 90% on the ground? Those are people just invalidated. They receive nothing. Nobody has received nothing downtown. And things are going too slow. No diplomatic movement. What is she counting?
Nothing is going on. Normalcy has almost returned. I was shocked this morning seeing photos coming from Bangui with their colonial gendarmes and police having the courage to go around, lock people's shops. They won't do this previously.
Yes. The fact that one thing is that people doesn't know. I thought the fact that you stay behind, you had the right to stay behind because you were there to give information, and you are the most vital person who give vital information to people on the ground since ever this struggle started. And I saw also JK come out and trying to make some chicken speech this evening. I think it's yesterday. So I just look at JK. I said, this guy is confused. He is dancing behind Marianta. I said,
Well, those are the people I call
flippant.
Those are the people I call flippant activists because they are everywhere with opinion. I mean, think about somebody saying the leader should be on ground zero, and he is a young man. He would not as much as set his foot on ground zero, and his county is the worst. Fako is the worst that needs to be taken care of.
He was one of the chair members for FACO. How did they do up to the AFCON took place and successfully? Even Eto went there and was eating soya. Jega was saying, what is he making today as a statement? I don't know on what he's counting on. I just see that guy, I'm surprised. Diaspora is highly needed for this our revolution. Without diaspora, those people
without diaspora, ground zero is done.
Yes. You know, those Chongu Foncha in those days were blocked because there were no Anglophone children in the diaspora all over, like now.
All right.
Who have to fight and protect people back home. Sometimes I hear people say diaspora is looking for power. Diaspora, without diaspora, the power is on the ground. No, the people on ground zero, they need diaspora, and diaspora need the people on the ground.
Absolutely, that's the word. All right, comrade, listen, I have to run. Let me get the last call. I have to run. Members of the Restoration Council, I think they are all here on set.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. That was my contribution, Secretary Chris.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Greetings, Mr. Chris.
Greetings, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from UAE.
From UAE. Okay. What is in your mind, sir?
Okay, Mr. Chris, I have some questions for you.
Yes, sir. Quickly. A lot of noise in your background. Can you move from where you are?
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now. Go on, please.
Okay, Mr. Chris, when you came out and you were exposing the look-ups of Madam Marianta, you were part of that government.
Yes.
When you were still there, why didn't you advise her? If you really think what she did was wrong.
All right, hold on there. Let me quickly answer that. Hold on there. Don't rush. I'm not gonna drop you. Why didn't I advise her?
I just want
to.
No,
let me answer you. You ask a question, get the answer. I just told you that her secretary for Home Affairs took her out of the Home Affairs APP forum. Both her and the vice president. That isn't Chris, I know. The Secretary of Defense complains that her signature is put on requisitions, purchases without consultation. I just told you that her chief advisor at the presidency is a campaign manager for her opponent. Comrade, I am saying this to say that if we had somebody who has been listening, who is a team player, she will not have her own team members working against her or working for her opponent. She has not been a team player. She doesn't listen. She doesn't consult. That is a problem. That is why you cannot work with her. I bet you I will not be sitting here running for president if we had a capable person who is out there to do it. I'm not doing this because I really love it. I would have loved to do this maybe in 2018, but I turned it down to serve in this position. But when things are going down the drain, some of us cannot just sit here and see it go down the drain, because the same you will ask tomorrow, but Secretary Chris, where were you? Why did you guys allow this to happen? I hope that answer your question. Oh,
Mr. Chris, let me come again with the second question.
Yes, please.
When you left SACO, when the scandal with SACO started, you said you were not interested with power. You were not interested to be the president.
Correct.
You convinced Abazinians to believe that you were doing it to save the revolution.
Correct.
And what is happening now with Marianta What can you really say that what you did to Sako was not to take over power?
So why didn't I show up to take up power after we impeached Sako? Only now. If you are a supporter of Marianta, ask her. She was there when I was the one who said during that time we need new faces in this struggle. I said that again and again and again. We need new faces. But they went behind, conspired, and before we knew, one evening they went into a little classified meeting and picked Tita and Marianta and came and announced it to us. You understand what I'm talking about here? So sometimes when you are not an insider, you don't know what goes on. When we removed Sako, I insisted with Dr. Abongwa. He agreed with me. Let us bring in new faces. It should not be Abongwa, Chris Anu, and all the faces that we know. But guess what? While we were talking about it and planning it, they were planning something else behind, and that is what landed us here. Now, at this moment, I realize if I don't step in, we are doomed. And I will say it and say it again. We are doomed, because when you are a leader leading a war and you cannot raise money, how do you fight the war? How do you sponsor the war? Well, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. I have to run.
I just want to ask the last question.
No, there is no time. I'm sorry. Members of the Restoration Council are here. But go on. Ask the last question. I will answer while you go.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing out a scandal now about money. That Madam Marianta embezzled money. Bet with me that
I didn't. No, you get me wrong. You got me wrong. Hold on. You got me wrong. Hold on. Don't try to talk over me. Don't try to talk over me. Hold on. I will take your question. Hold on, my friend. Hold on. You cannot talk over me. I will answer your question. You got me wrong. I did not say she embezzled money. I said she is in keeping of Ambazonian money in the tens of thousands, and that money has been requested for by the Treasury for more than a month. Herself and some of her activists, we are talking of tens of thousands, not $10,000, not $20,000, tens of thousands. So I didn't say she embezzled it, because she may still have it with her, right? But why can't she return that money to the Treasury? That's my point. Okay, go on.
The thing is, another thing is, why do you think you are the only legitimate Ambazonian that can lead that particular IG?
Because no other one, because apart from my Gertrude, no other one submitted the candidacy.
You are chasing for power, and there's something actually you are chasing for.
All right, listen. I think you are now trying to sell a different agenda, and I can no longer take your question. Good night. All right, I wish I could take more of those questions, ladies and gentlemen. Members of the Restoration Council are here on set, and I would like to bring them in. Please go ahead, hit your share button while I bring them in. Stay put for 2 minutes, and they will be right in here with Comrade Mike Fusey. Don't go away.
Who no say now you be the best. Who no say now you be one mama oh. Come on, let's do it now. My baby my fine baby. My baby my sweet mama. Let me tell you something about this, my sweet mama. The only woman who give me to grow and make me a man. Thank you, for the love you showed me. Without you, my baby, but them they wonder. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. God bless you, my mama. For the sweat you sweat for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you, you are strong. You defeat the whole Cameroon like Africa in the one land. My Bamenda. My fine baby. My Bamenda. My sweet mama. My brothers and sisters all over the world. Whatever you do, always think about your home. It's a place where you will come back some days. Let's clean it up, let's build it love. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. God bless you, my mama. For the sweat you sweat for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you, you are strong. You defeat the whole Cameroon like Africa in the one land. My Bamenda. My fine baby. My Bamenda. My sweet mama. All the hardworking sons and daughters of this great northwest region of Cameroon, I want you to stand up and dance, because the time has come when we have to put our heads and hands together in order to build this our lovely and only region. My Bamenda. My fine baby. My Bamenda. My sweet mama. Thank you, my Bamenda. Thank you, my homeland. God bless you, my mama. For the sweat you sweat for your children. I am proud of you, you are rich. I am proud of you, you are strong. You defeat the whole Cameroon like Africa in the one land.
Fellow Ambazonians, good afternoon. Welcome to ABS TV this afternoon of Thursday, Monday, the 29th of August 2022. I'm glad to have you again on this set of ABS TV as we continue the coverage of our elections. The first presidential elections since 1954. And we'll continue to examine the various scenarios and situations arising from this first presidential election. You will understand that being that it's been a while that we had this process, we are kind of learning as we go along. But I would tell you that given
where we are coming from, we have made great progress, great improvements, and a good promise for Ambazonia that better days lie ahead. And we're building a good foundation for Ambazonia's democracy. So, the reason I'm here this afternoon, which is rather unusual for me on a Monday, is because I will be presenting to you the Restoration Council that is here to speak to the people of Ambazonia and to explain certain things with regards to our elections, because there's a lot of rumor and gossip and misinformation, and the Restoration Council will be here just to bring some clarity to some of the questions that are being discussed or issues that are being discussed out there, to make sure that Ambazonians are getting the right information. And who else to give that right information than those who are making the laws that are guiding us in this process? I'm here referring to the Restoration Council. So, fellow Ambazonians, I would like to I would like to. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. But I would like to. I would like for you to stay tuned as I bring to you the members of the Restoration Council who will be talking to you and presenting to you these details as concerns our elections, as I mentioned earlier. So, I'll first of all call on Dr. Epa, who should be here. Dr. Epa, if you're there, please come on. We have very little time to get everything out to the Ambazonian people. We have less than an hour to do this, so we will not waste any time to do this. So, Dr. Epa, if you're there, please, can I see you?
Yes, Chairman, I'm here. Thank you very much for being here with us. We have important issues to discuss, and I want to thank all the Amazonian people who will be listening to us, and our restoration forces who have given their lives for this struggle, and also want to thank those in the refugee camps, those who are in dungeons in La Republic and even in Ambazonia, and also want to thank our people on ground zero who are going through a lot of pains, realizing what some of us are doing here in the diaspora. Thank you very much for me being here.
Thank you, Dr. Epa. And Honorable Danny, are you here, please? And Honorable Anne. And you could just come on. I would like the camera to bring all of you on. Honorable Danny, I can see you. Is Honorable Anne on, please? Honorable Anne, can I see you? And who else am I missing?
There are other people who need to come on.
Honorable Sama Thomas is here. Okay. The VC is here himself. I think we're missing one person. Or is that all? Okay. This is how we're going to do it. Members of the Restoration Council, you are here because you have some information for the Ambazonian people. And the way we are going to handle this is this way. I will give you 20 minutes to make your presentation. And after the 20 minutes, we will then go into discussing whatever material that you presented during the 20 minutes, and we will take maybe 30 minutes to finish that, because at the top of the hour, we should be out of here. So I don't know who is presenting first. I will really crave your indulgence to make sure you summarize your material as much as possible so that we keep within this time limit, please. I will hand you the microphone to go ahead and make your presentation. However you plan to do it, please go ahead.
I think I will start because this is mostly about the election modalities and the elections. And as the chair of that election modalities committee, I want to start and then discuss a few things that we have there's a few difficulties or issues that are very, very important in this situation right now. When the former President Sako, refused to go for elections, the Ambazonians cried foul so much and also held the Restoration Council responsible for not drafting or writing the modalities within the 2 years when President Sako was in power. And they urged the Restoration Council to make sure that the modalities were written and that elections were made within the time that we said it was a transitional period. This job was given to me as the chair of the committee, and we selected members who were willing to help draw the modalities. The modalities were written with a lot of debates in the committee, and after that, they were submitted to the Restoration Council. There were a lot of changes and amendments, and we did that, voted more than 3 times. After that, we sent these modalities to the Judicial Commission, which is a strategic office in the office of the president, meaning that it was sent to the presidency in her own office, on her desk. The Judicial Commission went through that instrument and made a lot of recommendations and sent them back to us, and we met in another session, debated on all those things, and then all those recommendations were put in place. After that, they were sent out, and the vice president and his team, I'm just trying to summarize now, the vice president and his team met and rated the modalities 95%. And they were so happy that the modalities have been written. And I wish the audio was here for it to be played just a little bit where he made that statement. I don't know whether we have the audio. I know that time is running against us. Then after he has rated that, he brought out 4 points in the modality for the 5% that he said needed to be met. In other words, he hoped to get 100% of the modalities being fair to him and his cabinet and his team. We called him in the meeting with the president. We sat in a meeting. We discussed about the points. We finished 4 points, and 4 were still remaining because the meeting was too long, and we still had another business to meet with ECA. After that meeting, we held another session, decided to complete the other 4 points that were not completed with them on that day. And we made sure that any point that we made the amendments, we wrote the modality, we wrote the rationale why that was done. Certain points which we felt that they could not be changed. Of the 4 that were left, we wrote the rationale why it could not be changed. We sent it to them, to the president and the vice president, and then they were so happy with it. There was no complaint. All of them were saying that is the revised modalities, and it is there on I would say nearly every forum. Now, by that time when we were writing these modalities, we had not known who was going to run for this election. We were just doing our good job to make sure that we have some regulations that will guide presidential elections. And after the candidates applied or submitted their candidacy, we started hearing certain things. The first thing is that they had to pass through ECA to request the Restoration Council to extend the date of submission of documents for their candidacy. Because we wanted to make sure that everybody be inclusive, we also decided to make sure that we honor that request. That came from ECA, but it was pushed by the president and the vice president through ECA to us. We decided to allow
the document
extend the submission of their candidacies or different candidacies.
elections which the Restoration Council is sharing with the Amazonian people. And
So,
I would seek your
somebody
consent
talking?
to
Is somebody
share
talking?
the audio with the Vice Chair of the Restoration Council,
I think there may
Secretary
be
General,
an
Dr.
audio.
Epa, and Mark,
Please,
and
can we stop this
in
audio, please?
consideration of the fact
Can,
that
can
there are some
we should
few
just let
clarifications
Dr.
we
Epa
would need
finish
to seek
his
with you on the
presentation.
document.
Uh,
So
can
let
I
me
just
start
chip
by
in here,
first
please? That can we?
thanking the Restoration Council for the timely release.
Okay,
I
all right.
think
So,
this is setting
so,
the standards or upholding the standards
so,
of democracy, which is
so,
what our
what
people
happened?
are really
I don't know why that one. I
seeking
don't know
for.
why we are hearing this one now.
Then
So
I would
that
say
was what happened.
the
We extended the date for submission of the documents, and the 2 weeks came to pass. Only for the election commission again being pushed, and they asked us to extend it by another month. When we refused that, we cannot do any other extension in a meeting that we had with them. Now things change, and what we have now is that the vice president and the president, they are requesting for they are requesting for 3 major things, which I would like another another Restoration Council member to pick over from there. These 3 things that they are demanding now are not even in the election modality. They have created something else to add to the election modality, which is not correct. I will yield for now and let one of my colleagues pick over from there.
Thank you very much. I don't know who is reading that, Dr. Epa. Is it Honorable Thomas, I think?
Yes, I don't know if you people can get me.
Yes, we can get you, Honorable Saman.
Okay, fine. So these are the 3 points presented to the RC by Lady Marianta's vice in the person of Dr. Abongwa or her campaign team. The electorate limited only to the LGAs, as also expressed by the letter addressed to ECA and the RC by the pro-IG activists. See attachment. That was number 1. Number 2, the vetting for declaration of income and compliance to all other eligibility criteria for candidacy be verified by ECA and for transparency be officially validated by all campaign managers before presenting to the Amazonian people. Number 3, all 3 presidential candidates signed an attestation of non-existence of pending criminal charges prior to the presentation of their candidacy
as part of the eligibility criteria. Those are the 3 points presented by the end of the day by Lady Marianta's team. Like it is said, Oliver Twist eats and asks for more. Even if these points that are presented by her team were met by the RC, they couldn't have still, they would not still be satisfied with it. So we couldn't go down that path because all Southern Cameroonians are criminals, according to La Republique. There are so many cases in America that La Republique has sued Southern Cameroonians in court. Should we take those things into consideration and say if a Southern Cameroonian is in court in America, he shouldn't be a candidate in the upcoming presidential elections? I think that was completely wrong, and such a demand couldn't be tolerated by the RC. I yield.
To continue on that, it has to be noted that these demands were made and signed on August 21st. August 21st. After the incumbent candidate in the name of President Marianta had submitted her own candidacy and was already in the game. Today is 29th of August. This was submitted, signed and submitted to the Restoration Council on the 21st of August. Just about a week and a day and 1 day. When members, when the candidates were already doing their campaigns. So any other member, please, you can take over from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think on this note, it might be good for us to hear from the Vice Chair of the Restoration Council, who is here with us, just in honor as he sets the ball rolling. Honorable Chris Adjo, off to you.
He's muted. He's muted.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Moderator, Chairman Mike Fossey. And thank you very much, members of the Restoration Council present, members of Cabinet present, and all Ambazonians. A few points that I would like to discuss have to do with exact words that came out of the mouth of the president. Her audio is on social media, and I want to stress just 3 points from that audio. That audio is her testimony. And the incumbent president made a declaration and also an affirmation of the duties of the Restoration Council about the work being done by the Restoration Council concerning the election modalities. In other words, at that point, she never challenged what the Restoration Council was doing. It was legitimate and it was legal. Also, in her declaration, she said that she affirmed also that Ambazonia is a democratic country. In other words, she, as the president, the guarantor of our constitution and the safety of the nation, safety and security of the nation, also affirmed the rule of law and order. She affirmed the rule of law and order. But with what we
Okay.
are seeing out there right now, I'm afraid that her actions right now are geared toward what one would even call incitement to insurrection. Lastly, I am going to mention her declaration that affirmed her term of office in her audio, which has been made public. She stated that her office, the transition period of her office started on May the 5th of 2022. And she also affirmed that the end of that term, her term in office, is September 5th, 2022. That is the day before the election. And I also want to remind Ambazonians that according to Article 7.2 of the Terms of Reference of the Ambazonian Constitution, it states very clearly that the Restoration Council, through voting, will make decisions of national interest and then inform the executive through the president for implementation. This article also ties in with Article 9, Section 2, subparagraph B, Roman 4 of our Constitution. Therefore, the Restoration Council would like to let Ambazonians know that the executive branch of the government is led by the president, has to comply with the decisions made by the Restoration Council, must comply with those decisions made by the Restoration Council. And may I also interpret that to mean that nowhere in our Constitution does the president have the power to veto any decision arrived at by the Restoration Council, which is made up of members from the various bodies within the legislative body of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. She has, or the president in general, male or female, has no power to veto any decision that has been voted by the Restoration Council. Thank you very much.
Just for a follow up and to add on what the vice chair is saying, let us get something which was written by the president and her team, which it is termed a coup d'état. Can I go ahead?
Yes,
please,
go ahead.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Honorable Sama.
There is sufficient time that was dictated. There is sufficient time for the RC and ECA to address the irregularities, bias, potential fraud, risks of rigging, update the ambassador people on the amendment, and undertake a free, fair, and transparent election on September 6, 2022. Failure to address these irregularities, despite the provisions of Article 7.1 of the amended electoral modalities in line with the Constitution, with the constitutionally prescribed functions of a reciprocal oversight within the arm of government, aware that as per Article Dash, it continues. So I'm going to suspend it here. What does that tells us? The president and her team gave an ultimatum to the RC, accusing the RC for having rigged an election that has not yet taken time. That if these decisions are not met, this is their next action which they were going to take. And they followed up with that action by saying there will be no election. Dictatorship. First of all, they were asking the RC to extend the election by 1 month, meaning after September to October. Does the president's mandate ends again in September? And had it been the RC fell into that myth, are we sure that after October they will even accept that there should be elections? So that was a coup d'etat, and they followed up with their letter to now commit a coup d'etat. That is why they said they've suspended the elections of 6th or 5th of September. Thank you.
Okay,
Can I come
can
in
you
here?
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Now, I would like for us to. You have presented several issues here, but I want for us to follow them chronologically so that the Ambazonian people can fully get an understanding of what you're trying to say here. So I will start
Uh,
here.
Please,
Oh,
moderator, if I can just interject a little bit.
okay. Honorable Danny, please go
Yes,
ahead before
please.
we do
Yeah,
that.
if
Yes.
you would just give me about 5 minutes to
Okay.
to also emphasize on something. Fellow
All right. Please,
Ambazonians, good day.
please proceed.
It's an honor for us to be here before you, and it's an honor for the Restoration Council in what we do, and we do our best to make sure that we deploy the Constitution and put our revolution on track. So obviously, you've heard or you've witnessed a lot that's been going on in the days, that's behind us, and the days ahead. We see a lot that is going on, and which is very troubling. And obviously, your Restoration Council is listening to you. Do not think we are silent and we are not working. We've been having several meetings, and we have been consulting, doing a lot of stuff just to make sure that we are on track. And just to remind Ambazonians that we, as much as possible, do our best to follow the constitutions. And that's why you always see us highlight this constitution. Now, I don't want to be very long, but let me go to just to emphasize on something here. Um, the president has prerogative for implementing executive orders. It is stated in the constitution. Is the right of the president. Even the dismissal, as we've seen, that's part of her right. Which we've seen that President Marianta has just done. I think it was yesterday. These are all things that is constitutionally correct. So we appreciate what she has done, but sadly there are certain things that does not match with what is in the constitution. For example, the article 9 b, I think, subsection 2 of the constitution, which states that article 2 b and subsection, I think it's just give me a second. It's subsection 4, which says the president will be responsible for accepting to and signing bills passed by the Restoration Council. Now, we are the legislators and we are interpreting the law according to the institutions that have been given to us and the powers. Assenting to, in case many people are not aware, and I think this is where we're getting it wrong, assenting to in the dictionary says this, according to the dictionary, it stipulates and it says this definition of assenting to: if you assent to something, you agree to it or agree with it. And then, if you continue on, synonyms and anonyms of assenting to: as in accepting and complying with. So the president doesn't have the power. Let me repeat it very well so that we understand very well. The president doesn't have the power to authorize a bill, neither to make a decision. The president's role is to accept and comply with what has been passed as a bill by the Restoration Council. The president cannot write a bill, cannot veto a bill, but has the responsibility to, assent to, which means comply with what has been handed over. Remember, the Restoration Council is a group of people that represent the people. And so what we are doing here is not, we don't, I mean, there are certain decisions not all of us are happy with. We debate, we put it at the floor, but we've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution. So whatever we agree there, because democracy has to prevail, we all defend it and we walk by it. So understand, I think this is one of the problems that has been going on with our revolution, the Constitution, at this point where our president sadly have thought they have the ultimate power, the unanimous power to decide regarding the bills, but no, they comply with. And if you should tie that with Article 7.2 of the TOR, which is the terms of reference of the Restoration Council, supported by I think it's Article is it 10 one second there, supported by Article 15.8 of the Constitution, which gives it its authority as a supplement of the Constitution. That's the terms of reference here. Now, the terms of reference stipulate or indicates that the Restoration Council, through voting, will make decisions of national interest and inform. Be careful there. It says, and inform the executive through the president for implementation. So, going by our Constitution, the president has not got any powers to authorize a bill. So it is because I believe we were inclusive, trying to get even. We are not even supposed to be here because with the rationale, if you look at the rationale for a moment, if we look at the rationale, if the president has been given the possibility by the Restoration Council to go in again for the election, then the president ought to have no power or no consultation whatsoever to even have an input with electoral modalities. Why? Because then you favor somebody. But in the case where if she was not going to run again, if she did not have that power to run again, or that mandate, or that go ahead to run again, then she could have had, on a rational way, the right to go ahead and also give an input. Now, this is a rationale that is, it should be taken with very seriously. I'm not saying that that is what we have given as law, but that is a rationale that is out there. So just to summarize, so that I don't take much of your time, the president, be it a female, a male, does not have the power even to postpone election, has no power to do that, because there is a Restoration Council, which is a house that represents the people. So please, whatever you've seen there, ignore it. I call on Ambazonians. The president doesn't have that power to do what she has just done. So we plead with you, we will continue to follow this constitution. And this is the constitution that will keep on abiding until amendments come, as we get on ground zero and as God will lead us in this revolution. Over to you, coordinator. Thank you.
Let me
Thank
just
you.
thank you very much, Honorable Danny. Mr. Moderator, let me just add just one point to that.
Okay.
Ambazonian should imagine a situation where a president has that right willy-nilly in any way to do whatever they want with the constitution, do whatever they want with any bill. Just imagine what would happen to the nation. You are going to start building a monster that I will call a tyrant. You can call that monster also a dictator, and that is how it starts. They start by subverting the law, they subvert order, and that is how you have tyranny and dictatorship. We will not allow that to happen in Amazonia. Thank you. Just wanted to add that.
And
Okay.
please, can I just say, please, can I just correct something I see here mentioned on
Briefly,
on the
briefly.
title bar that okay, anyway, I've seen it now. Thank you. I was going to say she has powers, please. The president has powers, but no power to suspend election. I didn't see that before. My
Oh,
my
okay.
apologies,
Okay.
please. Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you, honorable members of the Restoration Council. And I will have just a few follow-up questions, just for clarity, to make sure that the Ambazonian people are actually getting what you're saying as clearly as you have stated. I'll follow this chronology as you presented your material. I will follow that chronology to get to. I would have loved to start probably with the last statements that Honorable Danny mentioned, so that those items you mentioned should be still very fresh in the minds of our listeners. So you mentioned here. Let me just repeat clearly that uh, the the Ambazonian constitution does not give the president the right to cancel or postpone any election, and most especially the presidential election. I just want to make sure that that point is very clear, that the constitution does not give the president the authority to cancel or postpone any presidential election, especially given the fact that if the president is also a contender of that office, it therefore will be tantamount to a conflict of interest or equal to writing the rules of a game in which you are a player. I just want to make it very clear so that you can, again, if someone else can clarify it to the Ambazonian people so they understand, because this is what is playing out there now. Does the president have the authority to cancel or postpone the Ambazonian presidential election? I want one honorable member just to answer that question, please.
I can answer that question since
Okay.
get it towards me.
All right.
No, the president doesn't have that power to cancel any election, and the reason is simple. Um, when this constitution was written, there was nothing mentioned about elections, but the responsibility of organizing anything or coming up with any law or anything depending on the crisis or situation that Amazonia is facing was passed on to the Restoration Council. So Restoration Council thought it wise to bring up modalities and to set up ICA that would take care of the electoral process being an independent body. So making all that law, where does the president come in to then override any powers of the Restoration Council? It's a very simple thing. The president has got no powers to postpone any election. It is not
Okay.
stipulated. The president doesn't have any power over the ROC. In fact,
Okay.
one of our articles says that the ROC, that is Article 4.4, it says the ROC, it is the supreme legislature of our country in the interim and ensures government by the people for the people. So there's no way that the president, without even consulting, without even bringing it to the table on the ROC, to even suggest that she has the power to postpone any election. So she has no power. This election is continuing as we are already on. Thank you.
Just to follow up on the last point you made, Honorable Danny, what you are saying here is that the RC has oversight over the president, but the president does not have the same right over the RC. I'm asking these things, and they may seem trivial, but these are things that are flying out there, and I just want you to clarify them for the sake of bringing out the truth to the Ambazonian people, that the Restoration Council has oversight over the presidential powers and not the other way around, which therefore implies that
If,
Okay.
the
let
RC
me
can,
say that
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
uh, uh, moderator, let me say something here. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Epa.
Thank you, Honorable Danny. In fact, you have actually, stated exactly what is written in the Constitution and the law. That is the terms of reference of the Restoration Council. You see, the writers of our Constitution, right from Zaria during the fourth conclave, they already envisioned that we're living La République du Cameroon, that actually was a dictator, and therefore, if they made it that the presidency, and the Restoration Council should have equal powers, then the president will turn things around and will not even respect that constitution. So they made it in a way that the constitution gives the RC, that's the Restoration Council, more powers over the executive. So the president has little power, and they did it on purpose. And we can thank them for today, realizing what has happened with the former president with Ayub Tabi, then Dr. Sako, now to Marianta and the Dr. Abongwa. You see, if they had more power, and in that letter he has which the vice president Abongwa has written, he said that reciprocal, as if as if there is checks and balances, so they too can check us. No, it is not. They don't have the power based on the constitution. They don't.
Okay. Just to follow
can I
up again
just
on that point, if I may just add, just borrowing from, say, the Constitution of the United States for a better reference, that the Constitution of the United States allows Congress to hold the president to account. And that is what we see happening in the United States. But the president cannot sanction Congress. I've never seen that the president can sanction Congress. And Congress here has an equal status as the Restoration Council in our case. I just want to make that comparison for clarity. Honorable Danny, is that you who wanted to say something?
Yes, yes, thank you
Okay,
very much.
please go ahead.
I just wanted to, you asked a good question, and just to add up to what Honorable Dr. Epa has said. Look, Article 7.3 of our TOR states, it says the president and his cabinet or her cabinet are accountable to the people through the Restoration Council. There you have it.
All right.
So they are accountable. We can at any time call the president, call the cabinet to account, especially when crises and things like that happen. And may I just add here that the problem from my view, and what I am very sure of what I'm saying, that I've seen that has been a problem with some of the presidents is the aspect of submitting to authority. Because as a human being, as a body, as whatever, there must always be an authority that you're subject under. The moment you don't subject to any authority, you become rebellious. Even the RLC doesn't have the total prerogative to just go about doing what they want to do. No, they must still follow the Constitution to even create the laws that they want to create. So we don't just wake up one morning and just say, we think that is, we should do this, and then we start going. No, it is debated. There's argument. Sometimes these things take for a long time before any law or any changes or anything or any institution is being created as well.
Thank you, Honorable Danny.
I would, moderator, give me just one moment. Let me just add something to what Dr. Epa and Honorable Danny have just said.
Okay, very briefly, VC. Very briefly, please.
Yes, I'm going to make it very brief, moderator, Mike Fosi. In a true democracy has to be based on a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, not a few powerful people, what you would call an oligarchy that runs the whole show and don't give a damn about the people. The Restoration Council of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is based on true democracy, where the constituent assemblies, which are of course the local government areas, the regional and country coordinators and such, they constitute this democratic body called the Restoration Council. And that is how where the power of the people comes from the main definition, the pure definition itself of the word democracy. I just wanted to add that to it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I want for us to, because what I'm trying to do here just to bring more clarity to the various issues that you have raised here. One of them is this, that after you had reviewed the initial version of the modalities, that the president's campaign team came to you and requested, and they had already scored it at 95% at that time, and they requested some changes, maybe 8 points changes, which you accommodated. And then at that point, you produced the revised version of the modalities. And from that point, what you are saying is that the president's team was satisfied with the modalities at that point. But then, when other candidates started submitting their applications to run for the presidential elections, that is when the president again came to you with new requirements for you to satisfy or to add to the modalities which did not exist previously. I just want you to clarify that point. Is that what you are saying here?
Yes, that is what we're saying. When they scored the modalities 95%, they actually stated 8 points, which the vice president said the 8 points fall within the 5% that was still lacking. We accommodated that. We called them in the Restoration Council. For those who think that we did not try to accommodate what they wanted, we called them in the Restoration Council. The vice president and the president, both of them were in that meeting. Not one person. We discussed about those 8 points. We addressed the 4 points in front of them right there. They were satisfied with those 4 points. But because we had another meeting, we were in that meeting for more than 6 hours. And we had another meeting to meet with Eka. Eka was waiting, and we were to allow them come in. So we decided that the other 4 points, we're going to discuss them later. A few days later, we held another session and addressed the 4 points. And we sent the so-called, what they themselves called, amended modality. That is what they call.
Mm-hmm.
It is there in different forums. Or in different fora. They themselves call it amended modalities. They were satisfied. They did not complain of anything. No candidate had even submitted their candidacy. And when they saw that other ambassador, and we encourage every ambassador who was eligible to run for the election. I remember I was asked on this platform whether Ayabato could even apply. I said yes, if only he meets the terms of the modalities.
Mm-hmm.
It was not meant only for one person to run. It was meant for
Dr.
to run.
Dr.
Yes.
Epa, for the sake of time, let me just add this other question here. You also mentioned that the president came and requested an extension, and you had already granted a 2-week extension.
Yes, this one was done through Eka. Eka came to us and cried and said they want 2 weeks extension, which was pressure that came from the president and the vice president.
Okay.
And we looked at it, we called Eka, and then we sat in a meeting, and the ROC debated on it, and we extended the submission of the candidacy for another 2 weeks.
All right. It was extended for 2 weeks. Then they came up
For 2 weeks.
after that and requested 1 more month, right?
They came again and requested through ECA 1 month.
Okay.
And we refused because we
All
saw
right.
that this was no. Let me just a second. We saw that this was the former British appeasement policy when British was appeasing Hitler. Hitler would say, "I want Studenten land," or then they would say, "Oh, France and Italy would say no, we don't want it." Britain would say no. Let us just try to accommodate Hitler. And whenever Hitler was giving something, he came up with another thing. Even when he said he will not go, he will not demand anything. That is the British appeasement policy that the incumbent president and the vice president, Dr. Bongwa, are bringing to us in the Restoration Council. And we decided to stop that. We're not going to grant the 1 month.
Okay, my question is this, and any other member of the Resolution Council here present can answer. Has any other candidate out there benefited from any revision to the modalities that they put in and were granted as compared to the incumbent for all these things that you have already granted them? Has any other candidate out there put in a request which you granted to them as you did with the incumbent?
No, I don't think. We have not received anything from any other candidate. There are 2 other candidates. We have not received anything like that.
So for everything that you did to accommodate the incumbents campaign, no other candidate out there, not that of Comrade Chris or Comrade Mark Gertrude, they have not benefited from any amendments to the modalities as compared to what the incumbent benefited from. That's what you're saying here.
Dr.
Yes.
Epa, let me add just something to that.
Okay.
Dr. Epa, remember also
Yeah, go ahead.
that when the modalities were being drawn up, we didn't even have candidates. There were no candidates, 0. So
Okay.
everything was done without bias, without prejudice, without having any candidate in mind. The candidates that came later on simply fulfilled the conditions for candidacy, and they were accepted by the elections. Commission of Ambazonia. ECA. That's it. No, we had nobody was in mind when those modalities were being drawn. And even after that, the only people that have tried to twist, rearrange, or whatever you want to call it, those modalities in order to suit them is the incumbent and the vice. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah. VC, let me follow through here. And again, you can decide who takes on these questions as I ask them. We now have a situation where the incumbent, even despite the fact that they had benefited from all these other amendments to the modalities and other concessions like extension of the duration for the submission of applications, all these things granted to them, then I believe that the latest date for the submission of documents was August the 4th. And they waited to August the 21st, and then they came in with 3 more conditions for you to satisfy in order for them to continue with the or to take part in the elections. And one of them being that the electorate should be limited to LGS shares only, and that the second one was the verification of income and assets, something like that. And the third one was the non-existence of any criminal record or criminal proceedings against any of the candidates taking part in the elections. I want for us, let's just take maybe one of these. We have just, if we can spend at most 2 minutes on each of these items. Let's take the first one, the limitation of the electorate to the LGS only. Why do you think they have that authority, given that The very first institution that had the authority to elect our presidents were the country and regional coordinators. Those were the people that elected Siseko. The authority to elect the president was done by the countries and regional coordinators only. And later on now, we now are adding all these ones, LGAs and the RC. But now the incumbent now wants us to scrap those institutions that were there at the founding of this our democracy and to allow them to pick who has to vote and taking into consideration that they are participants in the electoral process. I mean, how bizarre is this? I just
Uh,
want you, the members of the RC, to explain to me how is it rational for a candidate to want to change the rules in the middle of the game in favor of them?
yeah, can I just say something on that, please? Number one, we must remember that we're in a revolution, and the rules of the game are not the same like we have in our own land. So,
Mm-hmm.
and secondly, I will repeat again: the Restoration Council is the one that sets the rules. And we don't just do it like that. There's a lot of debate, and I'll keep on repeating this so that people understand that these things are not just done out of mere desires or whatever. There are serious protocols that we follow. So we cannot just get every Jack and Tom and Harry or whatever how they say it, but you cannot just get anybody to just jump in and then start becoming somebody to vote. There is a process, and we must validate who should vote. So to come and say that everybody should go to their LGA and vote from their LGA doesn't make a lot of sense. That makes sense when we have our land, when we have
Mm-hmm.
Ambazonia with our full independence. That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Obviously, it's going to be constitutional, obviously, but we are in a
Yes.
revolution. And as you've mentioned before, we have people who have been on this revolution, who have been fighting, who position have been made, country head, all these things have come up. We cannot just suddenly dash it out because we are in a revolution, and you have
Mm-hmm.
already a set of players that are out there. So I don't see a reason why we must now say everybody go to the LG as if we are on our own land, and we are organizing an election in the normal way that we can. We cannot do that because number one, we're in a revolution. This is the diaspora, especially that's taking part. So that cannot happen. And like I said, and I'll say it again, the ROC is making the laws, and it considers all of these things before even coming up with these ideas and with consultation as well. So it doesn't make any sense, and it's bizarre, like you say.
Okay. Thank you, Abu Dhani. For the sake of time,
You are muted,
uh,
Vincent.
the,
Honorable Ajo want to say something, but he's muted.
okay, let me just ask this last point, then he can make a joint statement on that. I would like to skip the second part about verification of income because I really don't have any problem with that. I think that's a fair thing to do, but it's just the timing of the request was not proper. But for the third item, where they were requesting that uh, members or candidates who want to submit their applications should be screened for the non-existence of any legal proceedings against them. Not even that they have been charged and found guilty. None of that. That just because there is a legal proceeding against a candidate, that person should be disqualified. I just think, personally, I think that's unfair. But I want you, members of lawmakers, to tell us: is this something that is normal? That because I think it will open a Pandora's box where any citizen who does not like a presidential candidate could just go and file a lawsuit against that person just to get that person disqualified. So I don't know how rational that is, but I want you to VC. You wanted to say something. If you can take on that,
Yes,
we
yes.
have just about 3 more minutes to be out of
Moderate,
here. 3 minutes to be here.
Moderator Fosi, you have tackled the problem initially very, very well.
Mm.
Um, in a country of law and order, you are considered to be innocent until proven guilty. until proven guilty. And the fact that a person is being sued does not make them first, does not make them guilty, does not make them a criminal. They could be, you can call them suspects, you can say that they are the defendant in a case, but that does not make them guilty in any way. So even bringing that, it's totally absurd to even say that if a person is facing a lawsuit, they shouldn't run for an election. The only way I see, the only thing that I see is, suppose you have a candidate who registered for an election, and while during the campaign they are tried and they are found guilty. You are not going to take a criminal, somebody, a convict, somebody who has been convicted. You are not going to take such a person and place them at the highest level of government, for somebody who has to do with the security and the protection or defense of the nation, and give a position like that to such a person. So, but until that person has been found guilty, convicted, they have the right to stand for the election. That's all I wanted to add. And again, you are assumed to be not to
Innocent.
be you're supposed to be in yeah you are assumed to be innocent until you are proven guilty.
Communication.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Thank you,
Let,
VC.
moderator, can I add something to that?
Yeah, that will be your final statement, Dr. Epa, and keep it brief, please.
Okay. The point here is that we also have to look at how the lawsuit has come about a particular candidate. Is that lawsuit based on this revolution? And if it is based on the revolution, it is not that particular person who has that lawsuit. It is for the Amazonian people. Then I want to thank all of you. I want to thank the Amazonian people who have come here to to listen to us. I know you are tired because some of you were already on ABS with Secretary Chris Anu, and you also decided to wait for the Restoration Council to come and give you some information. We hope that you have listened to us and you don't take any narrative outside there that the incumbent president has said that elections are cancelled. The elections are going on as planned, and they will go on as planned. And once we have the winner, the person will be sworn in very quickly, maybe within 2 days after the election. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Epa. Thank you, honorable gentlemen, for coming to share or to educate and enlighten the Ambazonian people on their constitution, the electoral process, and everything else, all the tidbits around it. So it was nice having you. One thing before I go, one thing I would like to tell Ambazonians is this: please read your constitution. Know what is in your constitution. Grab a copy, print it out. I like having hard copies. Carry it with you when when you have a question, you can flip it over and look at it and get the answers that you need. So get your constitution, keep it with you, read it, understand it, so you can have an understanding of where Ambassador is going. So thank you again for
let me just add. Let them not only have the constitution, let them have the terms of reference of the Restoration Council also.
Yeah. All right. The terms of reference
if possible, the modalities.
Yeah, the modalities, everything. If possible, the modalities. Have all the documents that will help you understand the electoral process. So you will avoid all this confusion and unnecessary bickering that causes us to ache our heads for no reason. You know, we are making good progress. Please, let's be optimistic. Ambazonia is going in the right direction. Let's keep moving. And despite all these misunderstandings, distractions, I believe that brighter days are ahead. So again, it was nice having you on the set of ABS TV. Fellow Ambazonians, again, I want to thank our fighters in Bui and in Bafut, who did a great job during the week. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time today, but when I come on to my next show, we will talk about that. You are doing great. Keep it up. We're seeing you, and we will reward you accordingly. Thank you again, and fellow Ambazonians, good night. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.